Fishful Thinker Television, brought to you by Sportsman's Warehouse, America's premier outfitter. HPZ Workstations, performance, innovation, and reliability with game-changing design and cutting-edge technologies. Coldwell Banker, every day until it's sold. St. Croix Rod, handcrafting fishing rods for over 60 years. Evinrude, spend more time on the water.
Good morning, welcome to Fishful Thinker. I'm Chad LaChance and I appreciate you joining in. Got a really neat show today. It's going to be a lot of fun. What we're doing here today is we're fishing some really high runoff water. This happens to be Big Thompson Canyon here in the Front Range of Colorado. These are all wild trout. This river gets a lot of pressure, but nobody's up here fishing right now because the water's roaring. It's running well higher than normally does. We're here to show you today that you can catch them. Doesn't matter what the water conditions are. We're going to use some spinning tackle. We're going to fish the fast pocket water. Should be a lot of fun. Get comfortable and stay tuned. Picking apart pocket water. Lots of short little accurate casts and short retrieves. Fish. Oh, buddy, come on up over there. All right, now, I turned around and threw that one downstream into the pocket, and we don't think we're gonna need to net this little brown trout, but there we go. Goes to show you right off the bat that fishing some of this pocket water, let me get my hands wet here, fishing some of this pocket water with a little jig, jig's barbless, so it'll come right out. Give me back my gulp minnow. And we got a perfect little brown to get us rolling for the morning. Now, this water's really high. We can get him put back. See you, buddy. This water's extremely high. It's running really hard like we've been talking about. It doesn't mean you can't out and catch them. Short little casts, right into these little pockets, getting it done. The jig is a great tool for that because it goes right to the bottom. You can snap it up off the bottom. It gives me a very short retrieve window. If I had to actually retrieve a bait horizontally, it wouldn't work in here. So, see if we can get after them and keep catching them. So the whole deal, this little jig is what we're fishing. And fishing this pocket water, a little jig like this is hard to beat because it works the water column immediately. When it hits the water, boom, right to the bottom, I can snap it, that's how I get my action. It's just a little 2.5-inch gulp minnow. Very, very simple. I've got a real dark color on this minnow because I've got off-colored water right here. And so because we're fishing the runoff, and the whole point is to show you that just because the river's high and blown out doesn't mean you can't fish it. This blown out watercolor is what's dictated me to get a real dark colored minnow. So there's the overall rig right there. Get a good look at that. It's an 1/8-ounce jig head. It's probably a little heavier than most people would think of for a trout, but the reason we're doing it is because the water is running so hard, and also it lets me throw a real accurate cast. So 2.5-inch dark colored gulp minnow in the dark water, getting her done. And fishing some of this pocket water, I mean, you can see this is straight white water. This is not your good fly fishing water by any stretch. Like I'm going to continue to harp on all day. Short, accurate casts is definitely the key. So we move some grass out of the way there. We'll start over here on this far side. Get that jig down in there and fish right off the bat. I mean, it barely got in the water, and that's the whole deal. Got him out of there. That's the whole deal, is those accurate little casts. All right, come on over here, fish. All right, now, that's what I'm talking about fishing this fast water. Let me get him unhooked real quick here. And it's a barbless hook, so it'll come right out. And we'll get this fish up. And again, it's not a monstrous brown. May not be an absolutely monstrous fish, but we're sniping him out of this straight pocket water with a spinning rod. See if we can get a nice smooth release on this one. He's a real purty fish. There you go, buddy. Pretty as you please, right on down there. So the whole deal, real accurate cast right into these pockets. This water's roaring. They can't just be holding anywhere they want. Right in the pocket, boom, fish is either on it or he's not. Real quick, it's a straight reaction bite, and it's good fun. All right. right, plenty of pocket water right here. We'll work all the good seams and all the good holes in the water. Again, the accurate casts are so important. Fish right off the bat. Oh, and he came off. Spit my jig back at me and came off, and no respect at all. Holy smokes. The action's gonna happen fast, and that's why the jig's important. As soon as it hits the water, the jig bombs right to the bottom. Fish are on it or they're not. It happens real quick. And you're gonna lose a large percentage of fish in this heavy water, and that's just part of the deal. Now we're using braided line today to catch these fish, and the reason being is it's very, very sensitive for one, it's very strong for two, and I can get fish across this current relatively easily. It's just really easy to fish with a light jig head in the current. Normally I would advocate using a leader if you're gonna do that, and the reason I say the leader is important is because it gives you a chance to have some invisibility versus the braid, which shows up pretty bright. Well, here the water's way off color and the water's just absolutely roaring, so I'm not overly concerned about fish spotting my line at any level. If my jig's moving slow enough for the fish to spot the line, they're not going to bite it. Any spot that I feel good about, I'm going to make a lot of throws at, just in case. Fish are, oh, a little late on the hook set. Now that's several fish that I've lost so far. And you see, as I work this jig, I'm hopping it all the way along here. I'm not letting it just drag on the bottom. I'm hopping it as it goes. A couple things. One, if I drag it on the bottom, it snags. But two, it's the hopping that gets me the bites. Fish right there. Oh, and he come off. Okay. All right, so I'm up on this rock, and now I got myself in a pickle because I don't know how I'm gonna get down. I got a nice fish pinned up here in the current. I'm gonna try to get him out of the current. And now, oh, come out of there, fish. Now I hope he's gonna stay on here, and I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have to get down off of here. So we'll see if I can get gracefully down without losing my fish, who's now down here. Oh, okay, here we go. Okay. Nice fish. All right, got this beautiful brown here. Easy there, buddy. Easy there, buddy. Got a beautiful brown, and he absolutely ate that jig. If I can get it off of here. And it's a barbless jig. He got it in a weird spot after his... There we go. Beautiful fish, absolutely gorgeous colors on him. Beautiful fish. We love that in the morning sun. I'm gonna put him back after that battle here. We'll put him back real graceful here. See you, buddy. Woo, there you go. Gorgeous. Now, the astute observer will notice that I changed. I'm not holding the same rod I was holding a minute ago. The water's a lot clearer up here, so I happen to have another rod with me in case I tangle a reel, but this one's got fluorocarbon on it. Since the water's clearer, I put the braided rod down. It's the same jig and the same minnow, just it's got fluorocarbon on it. And maybe it made a difference, maybe not, but little detail like that. We get back in the stained water, I'll go back to the braid. When it comes to wading, you've got a couple of choices as to how to handle the water. Personally, I'm a big fan of wet wading. I don't much care for wearing waders, and there's times when you have to wear waders because the water's cold and you really don't have a lot of choice but to wear waders in that instance. Generally speaking, I would prefer a stocking foot wader at that point, and then I would combine it with an independent wading shoe like this. And the shoe has got the felt on the bottom, or the big trend is towards rubberized bottoms that will give you good traction in the river. But if you have to walk very far, this is going to wear out in a hurry. If I've got a long hike to my fishing, then I'm going to wear a boot foot wader because a boot foot wader is a lot more durable, and it's give me a little bit better choice if I've got to hike a trail, let's say, to get to where I'm going. For wet wading, you still need the grip and the traction. A purpose-built wading shoe like this that vents water very easily, dries quickly, and has the rubberized sole that's designed for gripping rocks is an excellent choice. I love to wet wade. It's a lot of fun. It puts me in contact with the fish, but when the water's really cold and you gotta wear waders, stocking foot waders if you don't have to walk very far, and boot foot if you do. Since I just caught that fish on the other rod with fluorocarbon, I'm just gonna go ahead and put a fluorocarbon leader back on my, my braided rod. I had a fluorocarbon leader on it and actually snagged and broke it off, and because the water was really stained where we were fishing, I really didn't care. But we've moved upriver, it's a little bit clearer here, and so I'm going back to a fluorocarbon leader, which I joined with a uni knot, and then I'll put my jig back on. Why do I still want the braid would be the obvious question. Well, I like the braid for casting accuracy, I like the braid for sensitivity, I like the braid for feel. I just don't like it for visibility. So we'll fix that with a leader and get right back after it. And the whole deal is it's so important, you can't overstress it. You've got to be accurate. Whether you're fishing and pitching underhand, or I'm throwing just a little underhand cast like that, or if I'm throwing a bigger, longer overhand cast or a sidearm, whatever the case might be, you've got to be real accurate. And I can't stress that enough. I think when people river fish, you'd catch a lot more fish if you were real accurate with your spinning rod. It definitely makes a big difference for sure. It's actually one of the things that gives you an advantage is the fact that you can really fish real small areas. But you got to be able to cast in them. More of the nasty stuff. We're in the flies and lures only section, so instead of the goat minnow, now I've just got a generic unscented minnow. Don't even know who makes this one. In fact, I'm gonna make it a little shorter. And then we'll see what happens. It's crazy, you can feel the power of that water even on just the jig as it pulls the jig under. Definitely don't want to fall in here. Come on down the waterfall here. All right. Come here, buddy. That's how you pick them out of the pickpocket water, right there. Now let me get my hands wet here. We'll get a hold of this little guy and get him off this weedless jig or barbless jig. Just like that. Pretty little tiny trout. Picked him right out of the hole, just like you're supposed to do. Put him back here. See you, buddy. Super oxygenated water. As soon as you find any spot they can rest, it's potentially a good spot. In this case, it's really important, I'm not laying the line down on the water. When I throw the jig up there, I want the line tight immediately, so all this water doesn't pull my bait down and out of the strike zone in a hurry. Get him out of current here now. Holy smokes, get over here, fish. Holy cow. You got one all fired up now. All right, now, that's two pretty much. Get this jig out of here. And that's why we're jig fishing, because I can work this water with a jig. Another beautiful brown right here, and I can work this water with a jig, and it's just a real good opportunity. And nobody hardly fishes along here. Hardly anyone's gonna stop and fish a pool like this, and realistically, that's why even in a river that gets plundered like this one does, you can get it done. You might also notice that I switched rods again. You might notice I switched rods again. Now I've got a lighter still rod. I have 2-pound test Fireline Crystal, and then an 1/8 ounce jig and a little tiny unscented generic minnow. A little bit better suited for the close range stuff than the other one we were using before. Okay, now I see a spot where the current's pushing up against a rock here. I call that a pressure spot. No luck. Oh, got him right there. Oh, he come off. Just about the time I gave up on the cast, he bit it. Just goes to show you, when you're jigging like this, you got to make multiple casts to the same areas. Fish, fish. Oh, come on, buddy. All right, got a real nice brown here. And once again, I've got myself in a bit of a predicament. Let me think here. Let's see how graceful I can be about sliding down off of here. Right here. Nice, get my hands wet. Get a hold of this fish. All right, now let me get him unhooked first thing here. Nice. Beautiful brown, absolutely gorgeous brown right there. Came up right underneath our feet. Hold him down here, we can get a drink. But just goes to show you the jig is such an effective tool for catching these fish. And that one's got some great colors on them. Beautiful fish. Slide him down here and let him go. Outstanding. Now these are big oxygenated water. Home of the big browns. No one fishes for them in here. It's a good opportunity. So we moved back downstream a little bit. We started in kind of in the middle of the river and worked our way up, and the water was getting clearer and clearer as we fished those big plunge pools. And good spots. So now we've moved back down, and we'll probably fish our way back up again. And all we're doing is hitting all these little holes and pockets. So we'll see if there's somebody home over here. Fish right there. All right, you got a nice one right off the bat. Now he was right in that seam, just like those others. Oh, he got me in the stick right here. Okay, come on, fish. Now I only got 2-pound test. Let's see how graceful I can be here. Got a beautiful brown right here. All right. Now, I got a barbless jig, but he got it. And even with the jig debarbed, it still took some doing to get that thing out of there. See if we can get this rod set down here. Show you what we're looking at. Now this is a pretty brown trout. How about that for a beautiful brown? That's a good looking one right here. Again, just picking the pockets of the seam and or picking the pocket water apart here. What a pretty fish. There he goes. That's good fun. But you can see the pocket. I just picked him right out of the edge of the fast water. Throw the jig in there, hop it 2 or 3 times. Just keep that jig moving. It's just an 1/8 ounce jig with a 3-inch gulp minnow on it. Beautiful way to catch trout. Almost no one does it, but that worked pretty good. Come here. Get my hands wet here. And just picking them out of there. With the light rod and the 2-pound test and the little barbless jig, that is a straight up pickpocket looking for a place to happen right there. And again, put this one back here real quick here. See, buddy? Just not the kind of stuff most people fish. You got to climb down the rocks and over the hill and dale and all that good stuff. So a good friend of Fishful Thinker here, a friend of ours, Ronnie, came and said, man, you got to try this pocket water. It's really, really nasty water. We decided we'd come try it. It's an absolute blast. Now, working plunge pools like these, now we're in the artificial flies and lures only section. And so I can't be using my little gulp minnows that I've been using up there on the jig. So got another angler right down here that caught one, if you can see right here. So we're not the only ones working the pocket water. Actually, that's our fearless consultant, Ronnie Castiglione, who is kind of consulting us on this deal. Fish right here, nice one, right underneath me. Oh, buddy, that's a nice one right here. All right, now, you can see how I was just hopping that jig. I think we're gonna go ahead and net this one just to get him out of the water, all right. Woo, all right. All right, so we got this one out of the pocket water right here, beautiful fish. Camera guy moved around to come down here and get a good shot of him. And I'm gonna show them to you. What a beautiful brown, great colors, absolutely gorgeous fish. That's the kind we're looking for here in the water, in the pocket water. Let's get him back here, put him out here, let him get some air. Absolutely beautiful fish. I'm gonna let him go downstream here. There he goes. You know, it's opportunity fishing. We've had traffic go by all day. This is a very, very famous place to fish, the Big Thompson River. Everyone fishes it. But almost nobody fishes these big giant pockets and these little tiny plunge pools. And it's a great opportunity to get your jig, get a spinning rod out, light action spinning rod like we're doing here. It's a great opportunity to catch some fish. So hopefully you've enjoyed this show. We've had a good time billy goating around up here. And we appreciate you joining us here on Fishful Thinker, and we'll see you next week. Fish. All right, oh, and he came off too. Oh, and he came off. Fish. Oh. Oh, nope, no fish. Stick.